I need to work on my articulation. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Yo, what's up? Ryuji here. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. What I want to talk about is progress, and more specifically, progress in your life in general and your personal growth as a person. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because for the past few years, I've been working pretty hard on improving myself. Whether that be in my happiness, my productivity, my understanding of things like success, my understanding of different systems in life, or my social skills, or whatever it is. Those are all areas that I once struggled in, and so I kind of worked really hard to build them. And building them has been this massive journey of a lot of failures, a lot of disappointments, but also a lot of successes, a lot of awesome experiences I had, a lot of crazy lessons that I learned and stuff like that. And it was really this whole crazy roller coaster, I guess that's how I'd put it. And I wanted to talk about this today because I think oftentimes there are misconceptions about how, basically there's a certain way you think progress should happen, and then there's a way that progress actually happens. So if you're someone that's working on yourself, if you're someone that's trying to be better every day, and you're going through that journey of personal development, then you might really relate to this. So, I think that one core idea of personal development that's a really awesome idea that I love a lot is the idea that you want to improve every single day. Every day you kind of want to become better, whether it be 1%, 0.5%, 0.1%, 10%, it doesn't matter. You always want to keep getting better and better and better, because the idea is that if you build yourself up through, like one day at a time, it's kind of like building a house one brick at a time. It doesn't matter how much of it you build every day. One day, the house is going to get built. So in life, if you're improving every day, then you'll make massive progress over this long period of time. But then there's this thing where in real life, things are just not as ideal as you'd like them to be. And what I mean by that is that, well, although you'd like your progress to look like this, meaning that you're always going up and up and up and up, in reality, you'll find that sometimes you'll have bad days. Sometimes you'll have days where you feel like you're not progressing, or sometimes you'll feel like you're progressing very little. The reason I'm making this video right now actually is because I'm kind of hitting a dip right now, where today wasn't the best day, and specifically today was not the most productive day. Now, I'm on vacation right now, technically, and so I have a ton of free time. I basically have the whole day to do what I want. And I was super pumped because when I came back here, I was like, I'm back in Paris. I'm going to work on all these projects. I'm going to work on my vlog really hard. I'm going to read a lot. I'm going to do all this stuff. And I did it to a certain degree. But this thing started happening where right now I'm kind of uninspired. Or, for example, this vlog, like I'm just not as inspired to record for some reason. It's kind of coming back right now, which is really cool. But for a while, like I was hitting a dip, or with my productivity where, I was like, I want to read every day. And it happened for a while, but these past few days, I haven't read as much as I wanted to, or, I omitted meditation these past few days actually. And so, I'm kind of upset about that. And because really, like, I really have the time to do it. Now, when this kind of thing happens, and it will happen because no one's perfect, you can't just keep moving up and up and up and up. Like, that's just impossible. Or maybe it is, you don't want to let that limit you. Again, like, you never want to have limiting beliefs like that. But in real life, you'll probably find that that's the case. Or in my life, I found that that's the case. Now, on one hand, I think it's important to look at that and be like, okay, I should fix this. So I'll be like, tomorrow I'll try better. Tomorrow I'll make the time to meditate. I will. But at the same time, it's important to look at that in the big picture, because if you look at it day to day, if you look at your progress day to day, it's really easy to be demoralized or disappointed at yourself, because you tell yourself, I'm going to progress every single day, but you look at today and you're like, well, yesterday I crushed it so much more. Why am I not crushing it more today, right? And and it's true. Why aren't you crushing it more today? You should be crushing it more today. You should be progressing every day. But at the same time, in life, that's not how it always plays out. And it's important to recognize that. So instead of looking at progress day to day, what I find more useful is to look at progress in the long term. Look at how much you progressed since a week ago, or a month ago, or a year ago, or better yet, like 5 years, 10 years ago. And when you look at it like that, your progress becomes much, much clearer, right? Because for example, for me, even though I say I was unproductive today, well, in truth, I was probably more productive today than like an average day 2 or 3 years ago. So, really it's this idea that I'm not progressing, because if I just look at today, I feel like, honestly, this is honestly how I feel. I honestly feel like I went down today. But really, if I look at the big picture, I can see so clearly how I went up. So I think that's always how you want to look at it. Or for example, things like the way I feel. Typically one thing that's really cool, I was talking about this with my friend Victor the other day, was that this year, an average day for us, because we worked really hard on this, an average day for us, we feel better than our best day like a year ago. And so, when you look at things in the long term, you look at the big picture, it's really easy to see your progress, because although it goes in waves, the general trend is going up. And so you'll find things like, for example, even later in your journey, a dip might actually be higher than your highest points once upon a time. And so it's really cool to actually see your progress through time like that and see how much you've progressed. There's this other thing I want to talk about, which is kind of the rate at which you're going to progress in general, because you'll find that progress in general is just really, really slow. And that doesn't just come to the results. That's not just about the results that you get, but it's also about the process of progressing. Still can't pronounce that. Because for example, one thing that a lot of successful people say is things like hustle hard, work hard, and don't procrastinate, things like that. And it's really easy to tell yourself like, okay, shit, like I have to live up to that. And you shouldn't. I think it's awesome to have that mindset. But what you'll find is that, you try that and you can't be as productive as, whoever you look up to. Say you look up to someone like, I don't know, like, say Gary Vaynerchuk, because that guy works all the time. And he'll always say like things like, work harder, work harder, work harder, just like outwork the next person. And then you go and you're like, okay, today I'm gonna be so productive, it's gonna be awesome. And then you wake up, you start doing your thing, but then you just procrastinate a lot, and you're not as productive as you want to be. And you're like, shit, why doesn't this work? Like, why, like, am I just unable to hustle that hard? Now, I'm not saying that you should hustle as hard as Gary Vaynerchuk does. If you want to do what he does, then you should definitely do that. But the point is, like, you can't jump from 0 to 100 in one day. You can't have Gary Vaynerchuk's work ethic in one day. That thing is built, which means that you go for it, but when you don't reach there straight away, you don't beat yourself up for it. So, because like, it's like, that's literally not how it works. And for a long time, that's what I wanted to do. For a long time, I wanted to completely flip my life around just like that and have the perfect life. And anything short of that, I was disappointed in myself, because I was not living up to the expectations that I had for myself that were based on, people that I admired. And I was like, I want to live like those people. And I couldn't do it because I would try, but then I would just procrastinate a lot, or whatever it is. But what I realized over time is that, I'm still not there now, but I'm getting closer and closer and closer, little steps at a time. So typically I'm becoming more and more productive as a general trend again. I'm becoming more and more happy as a general trend. I'm hustling more as a general trend. I'm trying new things as a general trend. And so I see that all these things like work ethic, things like happiness, those things are being built over time. And I think it's important to recognize that, because, when you listen to the advice of the elite, which is who you should listen to, well, they're going to tell you things that you can't do straight away. But you can build those things so that eventually you get there. And kind of the last thought I want to leave you with on this is the idea that everything is but a process. The idea that you want to progress so fast is linked to the idea that you want to get a certain outcome. So if you want to get a certain outcome and you're attached to that, then you're going to be pissed that you're not progressing as fast as you could be, because you're not attaining that outcome that you want. Now, of course, it's always important to focus on outcomes. Like every time you want to go somewhere, you want to know your outcome. I made a video about this, know your destination, but focus on the journey. Like, you want to know the outcome, but ultimately you don't want to be attached to that, because if you're attached to that, then it leads to a lot of disappointment. because you're not going to get there as fast as you want, typically. Sometimes you might, who knows, it's life again. But typically, you're not going to get there as fast as you want. And so if you're attached to that outcome, well, it's just going to create a lot of disappointment, where you're going to be disappointed at yourself. You're going to be like, why can't I do this? Why am I not there yet? Things like that. But if you focus on the journey itself and you take joy in every step of the process, then all of a sudden, there's no need for that destination anymore. Everything is but a process. Everything is but a process. If you look at things in the big picture, again, if you look at today in the big picture of things, and say I look at today and today wasn't very productive, well, is this really going to matter that much in 10 years? Am I going to look back and think back to this day and be like, that day really slowed me down? Or is it just going to be a part of this huge process of massive progress, right? So, you just want to think of everything is the process. There's only the process. That's all there is. There's only the process, only the process. And so every day, don't take things too seriously. Like, it's not that serious. It's just part of the process. And so I think that's a really cool way to think about life and things in general when you're doing anything. Anyways, thank you all for... I don't know why I always stumble at the thank you at the end, but I really want to thank you for watching. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy these videos. If you do, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I really want to know. And if you like these videos too, you can subscribe to my channel. That will really help me out. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time. Take care.